Hey, g'day guys, how you going? It's Justin Allen here with my Good Advice channel, here to give you good advice for a better future. Right, this video is going to be called How to Become Successful Fast. Right guys, with this video I want to give you some good takeaways that you can implement in your life, you can put forward into your life, because like at the end of the day we all want to achieve success fast. Who wants to take the slow way? We all want to take the fast lane, like this book, my favorite book, MJ DeMarco. Check it out, it's a very, very good read or to listen to. I've seen even someone's uploaded it illegally in chapter by chapter on YouTube, so you can even get it for free, so there's no excuses. It's a great book. Right, so I'd like to pass on some things that I believe that I've been thinking about lately. Like sometimes I'm like, I keep thinking like there has to be, like, how you become rich, you got to realize it comes down to having a sort of a checklist. You got to realize that what you justify your decision making in life comes down to a checklist. Otherwise you're just gambling. So right, the first one, I've written it all down on my notepad so I can just the topic headings, so I know what, get my takeaways for you guys. Right, so the first one, something that should exist but doesn't, but will eventually. So guys, really think about that really good. That's one of the biggest clues to the treasure map to riches. I'm telling you straight up. You got to realize, you got to say a lot of things out in this world exist, right? But there was a point of time when it didn't exist. Like even like this book, MJ DeMarco, he was probably listening to many books and reading books and going, oh, this is shit. They're just it's not really giving you enough checklist, enough information on how to become rich fast and rich young, like I'm saying. So you got to say he thought of a book that should exist but doesn't exist. He says, like, one of the main takeaways, he says, like, he wrote this book as if, like he says in the beginning of the book, as if he wished someone had passed him this book to help him on his journey, to give him a checklist of what to do and what not to do. So you got to realize that. And also, like, you got to think of everything in life. You got to sort of filter and focus for that sort of, like, with everything. So even like, say I have like a gym protein blender called the NutriBullet. Everybody knows about that. But there was a point of time when it didn't exist, but something similar to that existed, but it didn't work as quick and as efficient and as good. And then those people would have thought, oh, how good would this be for people to keep healthy? They can blend berries and fruit and put protein powder in there for the gym people. So you got to realize that is one of the biggest clues I can give you guys. Something that should exist but doesn't, but will eventually exist. It's like a lot of things in this world, you got to remember, if you don't invent it or somebody else doesn't invent it, it's eventually going to come out in this world. Whether it's anything, an invention, an app, a YouTube channel, a book, it could be anything. So, like, you really got to think, like, even say I'm a favorite fan of Casey Neistat. So you got to realize that he saw something, he had his own unique style, his own signature of how he did something, and that was his niche. He saw a market for it, for vlogging holidays and his style of cameraing. So that didn't exist at one point, and now it does exist, and now people are sort of copying him. And another clue I'd like to give you is, like, copy what already works, but put your own twist on it. because you got to realize that many things like already have been already exist, so you got to sort of change it a little bit. Otherwise, if you're copying other people too much, people are thinking of the person you're copying too much. It's too people is thinking, gee, this guy's a copycat. But if you just do it a slight bit different, it works. You know what I mean? So you got to remember that's a big clue. And the next takeaway I'd have to say, so in a gold rush, don't dig for gold. Sell shovels, sell pixel axles, become the distributor, become the big person, become the provider. It's one of the next clues to becoming successful. And then I've got another one. You got to do something that can be scalable, because at the end of the day, the more people you can serve, the more you can earn. The more people you impact in this world, the more you can earn in return. You've got to realize that people have the money, and you got to provide something in return. So one day comes when you're dead and buried, you've impacted millions. You've shaped the world because you existed. You'd say like, say like Facebook. That service has provided value to millions of people. And another takeaway that I'd have to say to success is you have to like become, people have to be hungry for what you are providing, whether it's a YouTube channel or whatever. Basically, that means they keep wanting more and more. They keep coming back again and again. It's like, when you eat, you build up a hunger, you can't wait to get something, and then you eat it, and then it's a cycle again and again and again. It's the same like with a product or an invention, an app or anything. How many people say, go to like Instagram and then they get a high and then they come back? It's the same as like, say, YouTube. You wire your brain to that happiness, and then you want to keep that happiness, so you keep coming back to the same person that someone's YouTube channel that made you happy. And I've noticed that a big part of success is, a lot of people got to realize that success is a drug. So what I mean by that is, here's a very good point, like for people out there, that you got to realize that the meaning of life is to be on the consistent pursuit to happiness, what made us happiness in the past, and what we assume that will make us happy in the future. So you got to realize that happiness is like a cocaine. It's like a drug. You're constantly in search for it. You're constantly wanting more and more and more. It's like, I've noticed, like, there's a guy called the Stradman. I've been following his YouTube channel. It's starting to just take off. He just bought a Bugatti Veyron for over $1 million or whatever it cost him, and his channel's going viral. It's really taking off. And I'd have to say one of his main ingredients to his success is his enthusiasm in the videos. He's got so much happiness that it rubs off on you, and it makes you so happy that you constantly wanting to watch his videos to lift your mood for just average, and then you watch his video and then it lifts your spirit. You become addicted to that happiness. So you can replicate that in other things, many other things that with an invention, with an idea, with a website, with a YouTube channel, with anything. You got to sort of wire them to be addicted to that happiness, so they come back again and again. You got to realize that success comes to those who don't sell once. If everybody just clicked on, say, a successful YouTuber or bought one product once, you're never going to make the money. You make the money through coming back again. So you got to keep, that's a big clue to success as well. You want repetitive customers. And the next one I've written down is like what I say, but with scalable, is a clue from my book. If you're gonna follow a treasure map, the treasure better be worth your while. So basically, that means, like, if you're gonna go to all this trouble of doing something, do a YouTube video or do whatever, it's gotta be worth your while. Would a million people like it? Would people get value from it? you're gonna go to all this trouble. Like, say there's a saying, you could put in the same amount of energy into one business or one idea and put the same energy in another idea and have a much better outcome. You know what I mean? So you got to realize, like, if you put the same energy into doing one thing or another, is what's the best case scenario? You know, what's the, so you understand what I mean? And then the next one can be automated and eventually still be profitable. So you got to realize that the end goal is to put in the hard work, build whatever you're doing, and then for it to be like automated. You want it to be profitable where you can hire out the workers. There's a website I've heard about called Upwork, and you can hire out work to $5 an hour cheap labor overseas to Indonesia or whatever. So you got to find ways to make your company profitable eventually. Like most businesses work for free in the beginning, or YouTube channels or anything, they work for free, but eventually you want to be making enough money. You don't want to be doing something that's just like a job. So you want it to be automated, something like on the internet that can be automated, or it's hire somebody else out and still have enough money coming in where it can be automated. And also I've learned, like, for something to be automated, there's different there's slightly automated and then there's fully automated. It's like a gun, there's bang, 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 one bullet and reload it, and then there's fully automatic. You got to realize that there's different levels of how many steps are involved, that you have to be the cog in the wheel. Like, the best way is to have something where you can only just put in a couple hours and it to be fully scalable, or you don't want to be the cog in the wheel at all. You just want to be the eyes on thing, just double checking like a security camera that everything's in operational. So the next one, right, so the next one is entry. You want to do something that doesn't have too much ease of entry, otherwise it's easy for somebody else to copy you. It's like, even like you look at the Stradman, his channel, he has like lots of connections to all these cars and friends and stuff, and I think he does this. I think he pretends that he's going to buy a car and goes on car dealer website, calls up the car person, organized to go down there, probably tells them it's alright if I bring some cameras, I've got a YouTube channel, when he's only looking to buy the car, or he might know somebody, or you got to have connections to all those cars. If you just go on to car shows, like you're limited to what you can do. If you just go to the dealership, you got to actually buy the cars too. And actually he like loves cars deep down inside, from his heart he loves what he does, and that's one of the keys to pursue your goal long term. Deep down inside from your heart, you have to really want it and really really be hungry for it. Otherwise, like, you won't do it for free, you won't do it long term. You might hit problem after problem, you might hit some brick wall and you'll just go, nah, it's too hard, and give up. So a big part of success is to find something that you like. You don't have to love it, you just have to not wire your brain to hate it, and there has to be money to be made from it. And you got to realize, like, a lot of things that if you do too much, your love will turn to hate, like MJ DeMarco states. And the next one, right, this one's pretty important. You got to realize there's a level of greatness, say 0 to 5, of all aspects of everything in life, like how scalable it is, how good the idea is. You got to sort of write down in your in your head or on a piece of paper, how good is this idea, how strong is it, is it a good idea or a really good idea? If you're going to say build an app, is it a good app idea, or is it 100% you think that this cannot fail? You got to realize there's different levels of greatness with everything, with scalability, with the invention idea, with and everything. And another tip I've learned this myself, every problem in your life, always blame yourself. Business side of things, blame yourself if it turns to shit. I've seriously learned this. If you always point the finger to yourself, then you try and work out what I did wrong and how you can improve. Don't point the finger at other people, right? If you hired a shifty worker or a shit company, you didn't fully check them out, you didn't do some research, sometimes like you gotta realize, like, trust has to be earned. You gotta find a way. You gotta realize, you gotta sort of have that 60% positive, 40% negative. If you're bloody fully positive, you're 100% positive, and you law of attraction, and you believe everything's hunky and nothing's gonna go wrong, it's a recipe for disaster. There's no, if you're gonna drive a car from point A to point B and it's, say, a 4-hour trip, that's like saying you're not going to hit one traffic light, one problem, one idiot driver, one truck blowing all crap on your car. No problem. It's stupid. It's a stupid way to think. You're going to run into some problem. You just got to have that mentality and prepared for it. And trust has to be earned. You got to assume everybody just wants to rip you off or whatever. So I fully double check everybody before you trust. Trust has to be earned over time. You have to do your own research. And even MJ DeMarco still in his book, he hired contractors to build his house, and they turned out to be shifty and took 3 years. And it's who's the idiot? The idiot who hired the idiot. And that next one is what you do today will become your future. So very, very, very important. Think about that. So you got to realize, say if you say you build an app, right? And the app, say, takes 6 months to be built, and then say next year, 2021, for example, then it will be out in the app store and be available. What you do, if you're writing a book, it will be finished, and then next year it will be out. A lot of things you don't realize. What you do today becomes a future. If you were to build a house, you're not going to live in it and move in it today. It's going to be carried on into the future. So you got to realize the knowledge you learn now, everything. You got to relate all the information that I'm talking about. Is not just bloody one thing. It's many things. So keep that in mind. And the next one. Right, this is the last one I'm talking about in this video, is marketing. So one thing I've really learnt in this world is that you got to realize that unless you've got very lucky, or you're really, you got to be have a huge following, like YouTube or Instagram, a huge following behind you. Otherwise it's very hard. You got to realize that a part of success is marketing and advertising. You got to realize, like MJ DeMarco just states, with writing a book, the easy part's writing the book, the hard part's selling it. So selling the book is like a business aspect. And I've learned this, I've noticed, when you're selling something, one of the keys I've learned is you've got to be selling something that deep down inside it from your heart, that it's going to help people's lives better. And if you're just on the fence, like I said before, of how strong things are 0 to 5, if you think your product, invention, your YouTube channel, just a slight bit, you think it's not that great, well then that will carry on with how you sell things. So you really got to be selling something that you have your heart in, that you think it's going to make people's lives better. It's going to change the world. Alright guys, have a great day. Bye.